Good morning, people of God. Daniel, get off me. I did not tell you to jump up here. Good morning. How are you? I hope everyone rested well. Listen, I want to say this, people of God. Um, a few of my brothers and sisters, our brothers and sisters, I responded to one, but people were asking questions saying, um, if you're operating in fear, it's like they're accusing many people of operating in fear by getting things that they need, right? And I want to debunk that a little bit and come from a different angle. First of all, we know that God doesn't give us a spirit of fear. He gives us a spirit of love, power, and a sound mind. And I have never been a woman who operates in the spirit of fear. I think my life exemplifies that for those who actually get close to me and see all that God has allowed me to be a steward over and the things that I do on a daily basis in my personal life. It takes courage, it takes tenacity, it takes resilience, and it takes the power of God working through his people. And so I think it's a negative position to assume that when the people of God are advised to get what they need, that they're operating in fear. I think that when we can go into a store, in the store that you've been in less than 24 hours and start seeing everything gone off of the shelves, that's because of panic buying, right? And it hurts us in a way because it takes time to replenish those supplies. And some of the things that are not made in US, we have the ports on strike. And then not only that, we were already dealing with inflated prices. So then there are some people who are on a fixed income and they know that as time continues, things are going to be continued to increase. And so you had the first of the month just recently. Right. And so at the first of the month, there are some people who are on a fixed income who are lower income. They have to get what they need. You have a lot of elders who are living alone. My dad went to assist an elder yesterday, my God-given father, right? In the earth. He assists a lot of the elderly women who are widows, and some of them live alone and their children are out of state. They have to get what they need, and some of them have to wait for rides to the store. So when they see all of this stuff going on, some of them, they do buy more out of panic as well. And so you have to be cognizant of that when you come into the comment sections. I think for those who've been walking with me from the beginning, and the things that we do, many of us, we are survivalists. Like we know how to survive off of the land. We're not afraid of anything. If the world were to shut down today, I think many of us, we would be okay, right? So it's not from a place of fear. My brothers and sisters, don't look at that with everyone, but the people of God, you should grab what you need and you should not delay. Why? Because we cannot stop panic buying. It's going to continue. And there were many people who have said during the last previous pandemic, they were without toilet tissue. So I think that is the reason why we can kind of see a lot of the toilet tissue. I know last night, when I was in the store, I did see a lot of the meat is gone, but I've been on my not eating meat journey for a while, so I didn't even think much about that. But I think that we cannot stop people from panic buying, right? And the people of God, we don't move out of fear, because fear is the absence of faith, but we should move out of wisdom. Especially if you have children, you need diapers, you need wipes, and when you start seeing those stuff scares, you're just going to sit and say, oh, I'm not panic buying, or oh, I'm not going to get anything, I'll just wait. I think that will be, that'll be kind of dumb, because if you have a child, if you have children, if you have a family, and there are things you use on a regular basis, you cannot control the people in the world. I cannot control the people in the world. You know that there are some people who are panic buying, and you know that there's some people who are trying to beat the upcoming inflation so that they're getting what they need, and you see the shelves becoming scarce, and you're just going to say, just ignore that. I think that's kind of dumb, because what's going to happen next week if your household runs out of out of toilet paper, or you don't have wipes or diapers for your children, or you don't have what you need, and so it's not from a place of fear. And I myself I'm a business owner. There I use a lot of our filters are made, if we haven't started companies here yet, but from a couple of months ago they were saying we were getting most of our filters from overseas, from Russia and different other countries. And so as a business owner, you have to keep those things in stock. When you go to some of these mechanic shops, they have filters, they have oil, they have things they have to keep in stock. When the oil was, we had some issues with the oil a while back. These companies had to make sure that they put their orders in, their deliveries orders in, because there were already delays in the supply chain line. Okay, so I think we should not be quick to just offer up our um, unsolicited opinion when we're coming from a place of trying to unrighteously judge and not take into account the situation and circumstance of everybody, because there are people who may not be on the same financial level as you. There are some people who may not be in the same age category as you. There are some people who may not have a vehicle to drive, and they have to wait for someone to come and take them to the store. And so they know that people's time is, valuable, so they have to get more than what they need because of what they see happening in the earth. You don't know what somebody's situation is. You don't know what somebody's financial situation is. And so I think, people of God, you should grab what you need. When you see these shelves and stuff constantly becoming empty, yes, get what you need. When you have farm equipment, for those of you who are farming, you tilling your own yard, you use equipment to, you're cutting your own grass, even though we're slowly coming into winter now. So it ain't gonna be that much grass cutting going on, I don't believe, in these parts. But you got your own grass equipment, your weed eaters, whatever you need. You use fuel for those things if they're not electric, right? And so you need to have you some fuel, fill all of your equipment up with fuel. It's better to be safe than sorry, right? And so there have been times, I'm a single woman, so I don't really need that much. But however, there are times when there are some folk who have children. There's time when I've been had to help out my neighbors. I remember when I first got chickens years ago, people were laughing at me, but it was just in my spirit. I never was familiar with chickens. I've kind of followed my spirit. I was telling some people, I figured I could get some people in the family get on board with me. Oh, we need to get this. We need to start a farm, but everybody, their vision wasn't there. So it ain't but one, so much one person can do. So I did what I could do. And I would, have some dreams, and I would tell some people, do this, let's do this and do this. And, some people did it, some people didn't. But when the shutdowns and the lockdowns began to happen, and then we had supply issues back then, there were no eggs on the shelf. And I had enough for me, but I was able to supply all of my neighbors, my elderly neighbors. They would come, and I would be supplying them. I was a great resource for the community, and that was the spirit of the Lord. God gets the credit, all the honor, right? Because if it had not been for him putting that desire in my heart, I didn't grow up desiring to want to farm, to want to raise chickens or any of that. But it is written, when you delight yourself in me, I will give you the desires of your heart. And so many of the desires that I have now, I never had these desires in my youthful days, you know. And so, however God wants to use me in this earth, I'm going to continue to follow the desires of my heart. Nothing I have in this earth I can take back with me. We cannot take nothing back with us. You can go out here, we can make millions and millions of dollars. You can't take it back with you. How are you stewarding over? Are you using it to help your brothers and sisters? Are you using it to help those who are down come up? Level the playing field? How are you using the resources that you have when you see things are becoming shortage in demand, and you have your brother, your family over here, a single mother over here, and they don't have things in the house? Are you sharing what you have? You know, it's good to be able to support one another. Together we're stronger, divided we fall. But people of God, you that need certain things and use certain things on a daily basis, get what you need. And it's best to have what you need for at least 2 to 3 months, and that way you can gauge how things are going. When you get through this month, you got stuff to last you through next month and the month after that, then you can kind of gauge and see how things begin to level out, right? That's all. That's all I'm saying. It's wisdom, operating in wisdom. She's our sister, not fear. It's impossible to operate in faith and fear at the same time. and getting what you need when you know that you use things on a daily basis and you see that they are becoming scarce, and just to ignore that and not get that, I think that's operating from a place of ignorance, and it's just like those who um having the three having um the oil in the lampstand. There were um three wise and three foolish, right? And so you want to make sure that you have what you have, even though the situation and circumstance is a little different, but we still are living in this earth. We still are living in this earth. And look at Joseph's story. When Joseph was able to interpret Pharaoh's dream, when he saw what that dream meant, God was signifying it to Pharaoh, but Pharaoh didn't understand his own dream. And so when Joseph understood, he said, oh, these are going to be 7 years of plenty, and then they're going to be 7 years of famine. And many of us, some times ago, God has already placed in our spirit, prepare for self-sufficiency. And all that means is come out of her, my people, be independent, be self-sufficient. Don't rely on the ways of the world. Don't get your heart caught up in the ways of the world. Learn how to be more self-sufficient, be more healthier, grow your own foods more, nurture the soul, be content. Don't get caught up on the material things of the world. Don't let the material things of the world make you become a slave. When you become a slave for the things of the world, you lose yourself. You begin to fight against your brother and sister. You begin to be jealous and envious. Why? Because you're fighting. Your heart has got caught up in the things of the world. You want more money. You begin to fall in love with money. No, be content. Godliness with contentment. That's all Satan's plan, to conquer and divide and conquer us. And so that's why you see nowadays, you see more jealousy coming out. You see more envious coming out. You see the lack of patience coming out of people. People just don't have the patience for their brothers and sisters no more. People get so irritated with their brothers and sisters. Nobody come together and sharing no more. Nobody coming together and loving no more. People want elevation. People even arguing in this YouTube screens. They become a slave to YouTube, arguing about how much views somebody else got, comparing their views to another person's views. Where they do that at? Modern day re-enslavement. And the oppressors and the enemies are sitting back watching you destroy each other. Satan is behind it all because he's now corrupted your hearts through the money, through the lavish lifestyles you've been able to be afforded through the money, you see? And none of that can go back with us to the other kingdom. But when you have the fruits of the Spirit, when you are patient, when you are loving, when you have a good heart, when you're willing to help your brothers and your sisters, selfless, compassionate, you have empathy. You're looking out, always looking out for your brothers and sisters, always trying to encourage your brothers and sisters. God sees the heart. Man looks on the outer. That's love, patience, faithfulness. The matters of the heart, what's in the spirit. All this external stuff is just temporary distractions. And what it does is it brings temporary happiness. Temporary happiness. When your heart is caught up in that stuff. Or you want to go and get you a Rolls Royce and I want to show off this Rolls Royce. You only get enough satisfaction as from getting people to pay attention to you. But if that's not what impressing people and nobody's infatuated with your Rolls Royce, then you begin to feel sad again. Why? Because it's the trick of Satan. The things of the world, they only bring material happiness. Right? There's joy in giving. Even if it's your time, even if it's sharing your resources. Right? So anyway, that's just my little 2 cents. Yeah, people of God, get what you need on a daily basis. Right? Don't sit back and just watch everything disappear off the shelf when you know that there are things that you use on a regular basis. And then we have to wait for these things to be replenished. And then when they're replenished, they may be replenished at an even higher inflated price, which the panic buying also causes, because it causes supply chains that, there has to be a greater demand on the supply chain, right? And so anyway, just have what you need. And when you're able to help your brothers and sisters, you do that, right? Ask wisdom to guide you. She is our sister. But greater is he that is in us than he that is in the world. Operate in love. Love is the greatest gift of all. Together we are stronger. Divided, we fall quicker. Be positive. Think positive. And if no one has told you that they loved you today, understand your little country bunking sister loves you. There's only one of you in this whole world. There's a God that we serve. He knows the number of hairs that's on our head. That's how special we are to him. We are fearfully and wonderfully made. And understand we are peculiar people. And even when you're doing good and operating in love, there's still going to be some that don't understand you or intentionally want to misunderstand you. It's okay. You keep on going. Keep shining your light. Keep showing up for life, being happy, operating in joy, and loving on one another, helping one another when you can, showing concern and compassion for one another, right? Have a blessed day. We know that the blood of Jesus is the only blood that has power.